Hello, everybody. We're here at Red Endless here in Maryland at 30 West North Avenue. We're getting ready to have a meeting, Committee for Public Safety. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes at 2:30 p.m. We have a featured speaker today, so let everybody know what's going on. Anyway, Red Endless has a series of classes that are taught here called Free University. So if you're in Baltimore and you want to check out what's happening in the anarchist community or the Occupy, you can come down here and check it out. We're at 30 West North Avenue. And the Committee for Public Safety meets every Saturday at 2:30 p.m. And it's a group of people, family and friends, and people who have had police brutality that have been committed against them. So that's what we'll be talking about today. I'm really glad that you're here, and please retweet. How you folks doing? Glad that you're here. So we'll be started in just a couple of minutes. And, so if you make sure that you log on to the social stream or the chat if you have any questions or anything that you would like for us to talk about, and we'll be happy to satisfy your request. That's me right there on your page. You can log into my other device if you can't log on to Red Endless properly. Well, if you can't, I have another device. That's me right there on your Facebook page. Yep. started here. We're at the Red Evans Cafe in lovely Baltimore, Maryland, 56th Avenue. So if you're in the neighborhood, please drop by. We're getting ready for the live stream of the Committee for Public Safety, which is a group of people that are victims, friends and family, and individuals of people who have suffered police brutality from the Baltimore City Police Department. And this is an autonomous group, and it's Citizens Watch, and we'll be discussing different incidences of police brutality and different incidents in the media, how the media reports police brutality, and lies basically about what's going on. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. And let me take you to show you the wonderful cafe where we're at here. Just give me a second. So if you're in Baltimore and you're looking for anarchist books, do stop by Red Evans. It's a great place. They just opened up a few months ago. A wonderful resource for the community. Here's the bookstore. And it's an absolutely lovely day here in Baltimore. All kinds of good stuff happening here in Baltimore. We're in the Arts District here. There's all kinds of good stuff going on. In case you didn't think there was political action here in Baltimore, there definitely is a community of activists. So we'll be starting in just a couple of minutes, folks. You want to take an opportunity to grab a smoke? Absolutely gorgeous day here in Baltimore. After the long winter chill, I swear I've never seen more snow in the last month than I saw in the last 35 years of being in San Francisco. We'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes, folks. So, what's going on here? Meeting scheduled to start at 2:30, but we're gonna, I guess, wait a couple of minutes for people showing up. Don't forget to log on to the social stream and chat with me. I'd love to know what's on your mind, your thoughts about police brutality, and retweet, please retweet. And so we can get other viewers to come in and check out the show. Anyway, I just moved here to Baltimore from San Francisco after a short stint in New York. I will be covering more and more political events as soon as I get my personal life a little more stabilized. If you'd like to donate, that would be really great, because we're always short on funds around here, because we do this for free, and we don't expect any money. But if you'd like to make a donation, just Google Freeman Sullivan. And if you want to send a check, you can send that to 17 West Mulberry, care of Clark Sullivan, Baltimore, Maryland 21201. That would be my temporary address for the next few weeks. 17 West Mulberry, Baltimore, Maryland 21201. 01 and make that check out to Clark Sullivan. And I will send you a tax-free or a tax ID number so you can write it off on your taxes. Thanks a lot. Anyway, we're going to be going inside in just a minute. Here at 30 West North Avenue here in Baltimore, Maryland. If you're in the neighborhood, drop by. Our meeting supposedly starts at 2:30 and we'll be here for approximately an hour. But come check out Red Emma's anyway. It's a great cafe. Supporting the anarchist community here in Baltimore. We do welcome you and your activism. Public Safety Collective, Baltimore Families Against Police Brutality Bloc Initiative, a collective of friends, families, and victims of police brutality from both the living and the dead, grieving proactively to uplift the community. The Public Safety Collective is an autonomous citizens review board of the Baltimore City Police Department. So that's why we're here. That's why we're live streaming, just so you know. So we'll be going inside in just a minute. Beautiful day out here in Baltimore. We've been suffering from absolutely frigid weather. We're going to get some more cold weather next week, but for today it's just a gorgeous day, gorgeous Saturday here in Baltimore, Maryland. We're at 30 West North Avenue. If you're in the neighborhood, drop by. We're having a meeting of the Public Safety Collective. Anyway, we're going to go inside Red Emma's and get started.
If I download you like to?
I got a seat right over there in the corner. Thank you.
It sounds like they've been, I mean, the more I've learned about it, it just sounds like from what McCarthy is describing online, that he's being gangster.
The video will be starting here in a couple minutes, folks. For those of you who are watching, we log on to the social stream. If you'd like to chat, I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions or anything you'd like to know about the situation here in Baltimore with the Baltimore City Police Department. And our meeting will start here in just a couple of minutes.
They're realizing how dangerous but hey, cat's out of the bag.
There's going to be parts of the meeting that are not
That's fine.
One step at a time. Nobody ever said that. It's better
An empire falls a lot quicker than you can rebuild.
right. But, you know, it's 3 years ago. We had
Let's help it first.
yeah. At a time. One. And we're better. Montgomery County has got all this transparent government. They don't have their arrest stuff.
Where's that?
It's also one of the richest counties in the entire nation.
And their elections. Yeah. But they're like, it's gonna be transparent. But it's not. They don't have their arrest. They don't have victim-based crime reports. We're a little bit ahead of
So I'm thinking
it's
as an
not
option
as bad
after
as
this.
it could be.
We'll be getting started in just 2 minutes.
This
For those of you just joining us, we're here at the meeting of the Baltimore Public Safety Collective.
That Cindy Walsh
1 minute.
uses
50
quite a
seconds
bit.
more.
And
It's like Jay, just like make a massive minute thing.
And to me, there's dangerous.
And then have, like, as make the profile, like the video, picture, and then the story. And then just like,
It's looking
just with
good,
the
right?
Yeah, they're all shopping at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They're all shopping at Whole Foods over there. That's the thing. They eat organic and they shop at Whole Foods. They do a lot of shopping. I'm not so sure they're walk the walk. That would be mine.
You know who goes with this? Heroes and those smiley face. Yeah. Oh, I'm just taking notes.
Hey, did you about CJ last night? Do we know anything else?
There's a couple articles that
Wait,
came out.
he died.
He died?
Baltimore police reported on their Twitter.
They announced it.
Yesterday, it was like 19 hours ago or something.
Are you back on Twitter?
No, I just was,
So one of the things we should talk about today is how to like keep in touch with each other.
That's the shooting. That's the.
That was Madison Park.
Madison Park, that was in the
That's
police
Mark
radio,
Terrence.
Wait, this is not the same.
This is, but that's recorded from another one. This one is 16.
So they shot 2 people.
No, the Madison Park was not a police shooting, but it was like 20 minutes before
Yeah,
the
right.
shooting of the bridge. They happened back to back.
Alright, so then
That
that
was on its way to one when the other one happened.
because I saw that update.
Oh, sure. Monday.
Are you up right now?
Pardon?
Are you online right now?
Yeah, it's on the Facebook page, link. Yeah, for those of you that are watching online, you can go to usdre.am/N, little h, little u, capital T. And that's the URL for this live stream.
Any pictures you got? Any pictures you got?
There's a, I think they use the skinny for us.
You can try to check for.
Mayor's deputy.
Mayor's.
O-L-K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the little hall
on the agenda?
We know about communication. I know we can't force everybody to be on Twitter, but let's talk about how to talk to each other.
I only tweet in my grants.
Yeah.
So like I don't get on, and then like it'll be like something makes me mad, and then I'm like, oh, like 7 hours, and then I'm gone again.
Okay, well, I guess you're out then. You can go up and ask, public comment.
I'm gonna do a couple more minutes and then get started. I'm not sure if they're still on the way, but.
We just let Leo and Sheldon know.
Before we start, let's do intros again.
You probably should sound really terrible.
Uh, my name is, I'm going by Frank for now. So I'll confirm alternative name. Yeah, this is the second meeting we're having now. And most of us know each other. There's still people that we haven't met yet. No. But yeah, this is Public Safety Collective, formed out of the Baltimore Families Against Police Brutality. And yeah. So I guess you can start by telling us like what the presentation is. Who you are.
I'm Jan Green. I'm not a pontificator or a preacher, or I've lived in Baltimore for 30 years. And I enjoy as a hobby data. And I have a long history, but just to start at the recent, I have enjoyed the Open Baltimore database, which for using it has caused me to find some interesting stuff. So that's what this is all about racial bias in the police department.
Is that an episode on the Baltimore?
No, it's my topic today.
But the open data can be found online.
Yes, I'm going to go through all that. There it is, and I'm going to teach you how to do what I do. But take it out if you want.
That's okay, I love what you do. I was here last week, but for other people who are back, name's on Angela. Hi,
Angela?
Yeah.
He's
And this is
Nazio.
Snazzy.
She responded to the call yesterday. With us.
Yes.
She was awesome. Checking out.
This is Ruby.
Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
What's the deal?
Welcome.
Sometimes referred to as Snaz Junior on Twitter. Now you have contact.
Snaz Junior, right on.
I'm Tom. Hey, Tom. I am Dan.
Dan, how'd you find out about me?
Facebook.
Or from, which one, the page, the crime and homicide page?
Yeah, I also saw Leo's feed.
Oh, okay, cool. Sure, who are you? I don't know you. Hey, shorty.
Raoul.
Fred. What's up, Fred?
Yeah.
Vulcan.
Shaka. Clark, and if you don't want to be on a live stream, just let me know, and I'll point the camera away. But we are being streamed live. But, link is on the Facebook page. So.
Take into consideration what you say and do. It could be scary.
You're responsible for what you say.
And now I go silent.
Our conversation today is popular among many parties, some of whom are probably not in attendance, but will be listening. What's up, feds? What's up?
911 is a joke in your time.
I still have that. That's from the video. That was so funny. So I guess I can start. That's coming.
I thought.
Yeah. Bro, flipping those on. Can everybody see that? Or should we move it back a little bit?
Okay, let's see.
Maybe we should tilt it up.
That's beautiful.
Okay, that's the title of my speech.
Do y'all wanna get in a better spot?
Wait a minute, hold on, don't go too far. I heard the computer connected.
Oh, yeah. It's, do you wanna move the laptop up here?
Sorry, guys.
That'd be good.
Remember, the word is a little funky. I don't mean it.
It's like, really open, like the whole world. Shit, you can't see it. It's gonna die in a day.
Oh, it's come on.
Oh, it's a little cockeyed. It's gonna be a little cockeyed. My mother, I did this presentation for my mother, and she's a very conservative Republican. And she said, "What are you going to be talking about next week?" Because I told her I was doing a talk, and I said, "Well, I'm doing a talk about how the Baltimore City Police are racist bastards, and I can prove it." And she said, "Well, I hope you're not going to name it like that." And then I thought, I couldn't come up with a better name, so I went with a name. So that's just the way it is.
Thanks, Mom.
Okay, so first we have to talk about race, because race is a very interesting topic. I actually went down this rabbit hole about 2 years ago when I was on a Facebook page and we were talking about what is race and why does the Baltimore police classify people as a race? Well, I'm trained as a chemist. I'm a scientist years ago, and there is no machine that can determine your race. There's no blood test. There's no mechanism for anybody to, you can put your arm in and it'll say, you're black, you're white, whatever. Race is something that it was concocted by the federal government, the U.S. Census. And the federal government mandates that when you go get your driver's license, you have to pigeonhole yourself in a race. Now, the U.S. Census currently has about 30 races. Maryland driver's licenses have 7 now. They used to be 5 and 7. The Baltimore Police Department has 5 races. And I'm not kidding. It's crazy, but and by law, by Maryland law, when you get arrested, you have to be pigeonholed into one of these categories. So then I asked the question, well, that's really good. Who determines who is what race? Well, that was a question that, my God, it took me months to get an answer. So I started calling all sorts of people, politicians, whatever. Nobody could answer it. I called the police department, and the police said, well, we think it has to do with your driver's license. And I'm thinking, well, how many people are driving around, are in Maryland that don't have a driver's license? Well, they said, well, then it goes to your state ID card. Well, there's still a lot of people that don't have a state ID card. So I finally walked down to the jail, walked into the visitor center, went up, that nice tall woman, she handles the visitor center, went up to her and I said, how do you guys determine race? And she goes, oh, we ask. I was like, oh. So apparently, I have never been a detainee. I don't know whether that's good or bad. Maybe I should be a detainee just to find out what happens. But apparently what she says is that when you get processed over at Central Booking, and you roll on in there, I like this in your handcuffs, and they say, what race are you? Now, I don't know if anybody wants to help me here. Is anybody who's been arrested, has that happened to them? Or is somebody at the front desk who's taken all this information, are they determining your race? I'm still a little kooky on that. But all I can say is there are 5 races, and they're going to pigeonhole, whether you want it or not, you're going into one category. The races available are white, black, Indian, Asian, and then there's a U, and I assume that means other, unidentified, and not really other. I think I see other pop up. Now that's it kind of disconcerts me a little bit, because this business with the white and the black, it's like white / Caucasian, blah, whatever, Arab, that's one category. I don't know anybody. I actually brought a blank piece of paper for it. Well, anyway, we can use this. This is white. Do you know any human being that's white? Do you know? I wore this black shirt for this. Do you know anybody who's black, who's got the skin color of this? So it's kind of crazy. I mean, at least in chemistry we call it a colorimeter test. There is a test, and I just want to cover this a little bit. If you want to, what you can do is you can go to a lab and go get a DNA test. And the DNA test isn't going to tell you your race. What it will do is it will talk about genetic ethnicity. And this is I just use this as an example. This is a very, very simplified version of what they can do for you. So if you submit a blood sample or a cheek swab or some way they can get their DNA, what will end up happening if you do this is that nobody is 100% black or African. Nobody is, you've got these various places where you can be on the map, your ancestors can be from. But it'll be a pie chart with a whole bunch of different ethnicities. Like this individual had the aspect of European, African, Mexican, and part Central American. That's 4 different categories. But they can actually go much deeper than that and tell you where your ancestors are from in various areas of Africa. But that would be an actual test, and that would be realistic. But they don't do that. Nobody's taking a cheap swab here in the Baltimore jail. Okay, so now let's start talking about, I'm going to switch subjects real quick here. We're going to talk about marijuana possession arrests. And this was from the ACLU. They did a study. And they did a study that says that marijuana is used roughly equally between, here we go, blacks and whites, which I'm going to use these terms. I don't like them, but I don't have a choice. Blacks and whites. This is nationally. They did a study. Now, I haven't seen the study. I haven't read it. It was in a report published in June 2013 from the ACLU. They did this. Again, I haven't seen it, but I would agree with it. 14% of blacks and 12% of whites reported using marijuana in the past year. And I would say that would be true, because I would say that's about, for people I know, just in my own life, that would probably be about right. Because people who enjoy marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana, but if you do, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. So we know that. That's the whole premise of what I'm about to, you have to kind of go back to this, that we know that this may or may not be true, but I would agree with it. So we have this. Okay, now we're going to go and start talking about the BPD arrest data. Okay, the database that I use is called Open Baltimore. This is kind of the Baltimore City provides data on a variety of different topics, like 311 calls and where the libraries are. And the BPD submits I think about 3 databases in this, and one of them is the victim-based crime reports, and that's if you call the police department and say, hey, I've been robbed, that goes into that database. There's the CCTV cameras, the locations of all their CCTV cameras where they watch us all to make us safer. And then the one that I use most frequently is called BPD arrests, and that is all the arrests that they do in Baltimore that are criminal arrests. They don't do civil citations. So if you go to BPD arrests, this is how you would get there. And you would scroll down from that the home page, and this is actually on the home page. You would click on data sets, which is on the left-hand panel, and here are the BPD arrests. That's what it looks like. So it's not very glamorous, but it works. So you would click on that, and what you end up with is this long list of arrests. And they kind of add data sporadically. Sometimes they take data away. We have an argument about that. But I started to look at one point, this was in October, I wanted to learn more about marijuana arrests because I had known about the ACLU paper. And I thought, well, how does Baltimore City handle just marijuana possession? I want to take a look at marijuana possession. So there are 2 charges that deal with marijuana possession. There is the first charge, which is 11635, which is the charge number. And that has to do with less than 10 grams of marijuana. So like if you have a little joint in your pocket, and they put you on the back of a police car, and they pull it out and say, okay, this is probably less than 10 grams, so you'll get charged for that. If you have a big chunk of marijuana, there's 10573. That's the other charge. And that charge is for if you're caught with marijuana, but you don't have an intent to distribute. It means that you've got a big brick of marijuana, and you tell the cop, this is my marijuana, I'm going to smoke it myself, I'm not giving it to anybody, I'm not distributing it, I'm not dealing it, I'm not manufacturing it. So those would be the 2 charges that have to deal with this marijuana possession. I'm not concerning myself with people who deal marijuana or people who deal any other drugs. It's just these 2 charges. So, there's a bit of a story about this. I started tabulating this back in October. I started looking at this data. Well, the minute I started doing this and putting up some graphs on my blog and on Facebook pages, they've quit adding data to the database. Because what happened was Stephen Janis from Fox News got a hold of my numbers, and he did an entire report on it. And all of a sudden, the Baltimore Police Department had a very big black eye. So they just stopped adding data. That was their way of handling it. So when we're talking about 2013 data, I can only go from the day of January 1st to September 19th when they stopped adding it. And there were 4,432 arrests for just those 2 charges. So you see them, I filtered it out. This is 10573 and 11635, which is marijuana for the possession charges. Out of, I think it was about 34,000, I have the number on the next slide, but that turned out to be 13.1% of all charges, of all arrests, was just marijuana possession. 4,400 in the space of 9.5 months. That's pretty scary. In one city of 621,000 people. Did I put this thing up twice? Oh, yeah, okay, here's where. So then I wanted to learn more about race. Remember, we're going to go back to the black and the white and the green and whatever. So I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. Since we have this race category, I wanted to know how many are of each race. So I did a filter. You can do a filter. I can go through this. Okay, here's my filter. It was between, again, I'm going to go back January 1st through September 19th, 2013, the T charges. And then here's those letters, the B, the A. I think this should be I for Indian. Asian. This is an A for Asian. This should be I for Indian. And then the U for the weird unidentified other, you're an alien or whatever. So this is just the black people, and the black arrests, remember we had 4,432? The black people were 4,092 of those. Okay? That's black people that have been arrested for possession of marijuana. So, here we go with the math. We have black arrests. So we take 4,090, and here's your math, kind of remember your math here. 4,092 divided by all of them, you end up with 92.3% of all the arrests were for black people. White, 6.6%, Indian, Asian, and then the weird unidentified category, and so that's 100%.
Sean, is that Indian, as in Indian Ocean or Native American?
Who knows? If you want to be Indian, next time you get arrested, roll on in there and say, I'm Indian, I want to be Indian today. I told the U.S. Census I was a black Filipino in 2000. I had 13 people, 14 children living in my basement, and they wrote it down.
My arrest service.
You can do it. There's no test. You won't be arrested. Because there's no way, race is a crazy category. There's no way to test for it. You can be anything you want. If you go, I went down to get my driver's license renewed. I said, can I change my race? The lady said, you can be anything you want. Okay, so here we have one of my favorite places, the U.S. Census, which is a kind of a scary, I wouldn't tell them anything. U.S. Census claims that they don't share information. Well, NSA says they don't share information either, you know. So U.S. Census came in 2010 and they did a census. Hopefully, most people answered more honestly than I did. In 2010, I refused to answer any questions that Jason yesterday. I said, get away from my house. But most people are nice to U.S. Census people. And we find out that in Baltimore, the white people comprise, or people who self-identify as white, are 29.6% of the population. We have black or African American, 63.7. Now, we have to go back. You remember what I said at the beginning, right? Was that blacks and whites use marijuana about the same. So wouldn't it be logical that the arrests should be 63.7% black and 29.6% white? That's not what we got. What we got is 92.3, 6.6, and whites 29.6, and black 63.7. So, from that, I don't see why we have this incredible discrepancy. So here I started making graphs. You know me, I love a good graph. And so here you see this. I made a bar graph out of it with a 92.3%, and you can see this huge difference, and this massive difference on whites. By the way, I live in Locust Point, which is 99.8% white, and I can smell the pot. Okay? I can smell it. When I go in my backyard, somebody's smoking pot. So I don't understand why it's an illegal drug, somebody should be arrested. So why the difference? I can go back, if somebody has an explanation for this, boy, I would really like to hear it. I really would. Does anybody have an idea why? Because I'm out of.
I was going to show your title slide.
Quota. I mean, it's more involved.
Well, I do know that Baltimore City Police, 80% educated. Most of them are white. And I think they come from these
West Virginia.
they come from these hick towns and that racism. And I think, this is what I think is going on, is that they get promoted by arrests. How many arrests can I make?
Quota.
And a marijuana arrest is so easy. All these drug arrests are so easy. If somebody's assaulting somebody or raping somebody, they got to prove that. And that is, that's a whole process. But if they find a joint in your back pocket, they can send that joint to the lab, get a test, and it's a slam dunk. That's going to stick. And we also, I think in Baltimore, black people are just as poor as white people. White people are poor as black people. But when they go to the street corner and there's a whole bunch of people hanging around and they want to arrest somebody, I think they go for the black person because they think the black person is less likely to hire a lawyer or less likely to contest the arrest. And they don't want that. They want arrests that they can, bring home to their supervisor and say, hey, I've done this and it's stuck and I'm making Baltimore safer and you need to promote me. So I think that's probably why they do it. I think they're wrong on that, though. I think a black person can hire a lawyer just as well as a white person. So for 2013, Stephen Janis, by the way, I put this slide up. He emailed me yesterday, and he actually, somehow using Freedom of Information Act or something, he managed to get the total number for 2013. So I just got this. And he went, and I had actually kind of given this little presentation to him, and he kind of knew what to do. So he did the same thing that I did. So the total number of 2013 arrests for marijuana possession was 6,400. I don't know the total number of arrests, it's probably around 45,000. So this actually carried through. I think this was, if you take that number and divide by that number, you get about 91%. Is where it bottomed out at the end.
Looks like I don't know.
So, they're still way out of line. Now here's some things you can do. This is kind of like, I'm a mapper. I have a long history of mapping. I work for a mapping company. So you can map this. Here's Locust Point right here. You see the one little marijuana possession arrest over here on this side. And yet, when you look at the black neighborhoods, you see these massive concentrations of marijuana possession arrests. So it is kind of scary.
Cheaper prices.
So another thing that I do is I do homicides. I love to tabulate homicides. So I actually managed to break this all out by police district because I really wanted to see, compare the number of homicides in each police district versus the number of pot arrests. And Western is this one. Western is a big dangerous police district where everybody's killing each other. And yet they have half the number of, very few pot and marijuana or possession arrests compared to homicides. So that kind of, it's not like they're, I don't know, there's no rhyme to reason for it.
Priorities are levels.
Southern, let's talk about, that's where I live, Southern. So when I was watching Southern, they actually had far more marijuana arrests, possession arrests, than, in percentage-wise, than homicides. Same with Southeastern. Southeastern, that's where all the yuppies live. And look how they're chasing all the black people around there for marijuana possession. And so you can kind of look at that. That particular graph doesn't make me feel very safe. It means that the police are just generating busy work for themselves.
North of the times.
Okay, here's this I did not do. This is from the ACLU. They talk about all Maryland because they like the big picture. And it's kind of scary. Between 2001 and 2010, they got a hold of all the arrests for the entire state. And you see that the number of marijuana possession arrests has jumped dramatically between 2001 and 2010. It increased by 34%. Yet if you look at the population of the state has only increased by 7%. So you see that really, these marijuana possession arrests, the police love them. Doesn't make anybody any safer. But boy, the police they just think it's peachy. Okay, this is another scary bar graph. This is the percentage of whites versus blacks that are getting arrested in the state between 2001 and 2010. And you can see, if they say it's actually two stories to tell, the enforcement rate for whites and the enforcement rate for blacks. Here you're seeing this incredible increase in the number of arrests for black people. So they're doing this across the state. In PG County and Montgomery County, the police are targeting black people all over the state and increasing the marijuana possession arrests. You notice that the white marijuana possession arrests are staying relatively stable. So the increases have pretty much are targeted toward black people.
Tim, do you know what the population numbers are statewide? Just broken
Oh,
down
I
by
don't
race?
know. I don't know. Okay. What the Baltimore police would not release the rest of the data for 2013. Last week, they released the data for the first 25 days of 2014, figuring I couldn't do much with it. Ha! Give me a little bit of data and you can see what I can squeeze out of it. So you take the first 25 days of the year and you compare it. Like they couldn't figure out how to do this. I compared it to all the arrests, marijuana possession arrests in the first 25 days of 2013. So what do you know? Look at that. 475 marijuana possession arrests in 2013, and we get to 2014, all of a sudden that number drops 300 to 314. That's I think it was a 33.7% decrease. So the police realize they're in a corner on this, and that maybe they ought to start doing something a little differently. So I got all excited about this, and I wanted to know where is this, I wanted to know if the district commanders are hearing this, and are they doing something different in each of the districts? Because that's really, shit rolls downhill, and the bat says one thing, do they listen? So, remember the Northeast, which had all those arrests? All of a sudden, the Northeast dropped pretty significantly from upwards of 100 to down to 60. So they had a massive decrease. Western, remember they didn't have that many to begin with. Well, they're just like, hey, we'll worry about the homicides. We don't really care about marijuana possession. But here we are, back to Southern District. Those creeps down there. And what do? In Southern and Southwestern, they're actually increasing the number of marijuana possession arrests. So out of 8 out of 10 districts, look at Northern. Northern, they don't really worry about them at all. But yeah, Southern District, they don't like me over there. I guess at the next meeting, I think I'm gonna have something to say, right? All right, so we're gonna switch topics. Remember how anybody who lives in Baltimore City, you can't, about Batsy's running up there. Robberies are on the decrease. I am doing a great job making Baltimore safer. And so I said, okay, well, and you say robberies are on the decrease. What do you mean by that? Again, you have to remember, I got data. Not much. So, I can only compare apples to apples. This comes out of the database called Victim-Based Crime Report. It's another one of my favorite databases. And for that database, I actually had data for the first 39 days of the year between January 1st to February 9th, I believe it was the number that was the data that I had last week when I made this graph. So it turns out, are robberies on the decrease? Well, they're on the decrease as opposed to 2013. Yes, we've had a decrease from year to year. But that particular data set actually has a lot more information. So I looked at 2009 39 days out, and, well, it's, you know, it's right, I don't really see a big decrease compared to those 4 years. So that's, it's all relative. You have to be, when Bass talks, you really have to listen to what he says.
Plus they fired the statistician.
Well, so then I decided to, yeah, the statistician, he fired the messenger, right? So then I wanted to see, well, where is this big decrease in robberies? Is it across all the districts? Or is something funny going on in just a few of the districts? Well, it's kind of staying stable in a lot of these districts. You see the yellow line, green line, and all of a sudden we got the purple line. And we got an orange line. It's doing some, look at those. Those lines are doing something really strange here. So it turns out that the big decrease was in Northwestern and Northeastern. Northwestern had 71 robberies in the first 39 days of the year in 2013, but that was halved by 32%. So somebody asked me, well, is Baltimore any safer? And I said, well, yeah, it is safer. You're standing by the police computer where the police input their robbery data over in the Northwestern district, and you don't want to get trampled, you will be safer because they're only filing reports on 50% fewer robberies in 2013. My guess is that these police district commanders simply they've decided they don't want that many robberies, so they're discouraging their police to file robbery reports. When you get robbed and you call the police, there's a lot of instances where they're saying you have to either go down to the police station to file a report, or it doesn't really look like a robbery to me. I'm not too lazy to file the paperwork today. I mean, all they have to do is not file the paperwork, and then it shows an opposite decrease in robberies. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Again, I'm not a pontificator. I don't have anything to say, but if there's any questions, I'd like to be able to answer them. Yes?
Well, I had a comment about like what are the mechanics behind the racism and marijuana arrests. I mean, I think one aspect of that is that if they've identified the police have identified their victim as black, that they're gonna more likely to go for a combo on different things. So like one thing I've seen firsthand is that, you know, if you got like, they pull over some white people in a car for a suspended license or something like that.
Okay, well,
Like
let's
your
talk about
license
that.
is suspended, that's so bad. And then they like park your car and you're gonna like, you know, no, well, so if it's white people in the car, they'll just be like, park your car and like we'll figure it out later. You know, get out of your car, get on the bus, whatever, see you later. Whereas if it's black, you know, if it's a black guy driving the car, they will pull him out of the car, put him in handcuffs and search in his pockets. And then if it also has marijuana, they'll arrest him for that.
Well, yeah, I think what they're doing is they're letting the white people, they're having, you know, have a nice day, sir. I'm not going to bother you today. But there's something I did say about this. I was actually at a talk for the hacker group in Baltimore, where we talk about, you know, going into databases and getting information. And I brought this up, this was about 3 weeks ago, and I was in a room as the only female in a bunch of white male in the room, and I said, by the way, the police are racist. And immediately, this was toward the end of the talk, just about everybody in the room got up and ran out the door. Nobody wanted to talk about it, except for one guy who was this arch conservative, and he was very insulted by what I had to say, and he said, you prove it. And so I went through condensed version of what I did here, and he said, but that's not right, because when the police arrest you, they get you for a variety of offenses, and these pot arrests are all secondary offenses to much, you know, we're talking about black people, and black people are bad, and they're all criminals, and these are just secondary offenses to much larger, more violent crimes. And I said, absolutely not. Because what this is only the top, when you get arrested, and you get arrested for a variety of charges, What comes up here in this database is the most drastic charge that you have. So if you're on the back of a police car and they search you and they come up with a joint and that's all they got, or maybe you were also riding a bicycle without a headlamp or loitering. The loitering and the headlamp charge is the lesser offense. So this is actually, we don't even know how many of all these other charges, the much greater offenses, are for marijuana possession. This 4,400 charges are when marijuana is the worst offense. So there's many, many, many more of them. Whenever somebody gets arrested for handgun violations or assault charges, you almost always see that marijuana possession charge at the bottom of the line item list. So it's actually much worse than it is. This is just the data I got. So.
Saul seems to support Shorty. He's been trying to make for years now. O'Malley's been the governor. O'Malley's against supposedly marijuana, of course, the fact that he's a drinker, that's understandable. And the prison population is booming under O'Malley. I mean, it's like,
This is it. People are getting hauled into the jail and sitting for 30 days till they get bail review.
more than that.
Well, 80 days, so that's crap. I mean, it used to be, prior to last year, you could get a year for having marijuana in your pocket. And now it's down to 90 days. But you still don't have to sit there for 90 days. They run the clock out on you. Okay, well, we'll do bail review, but it'll be 90 days. That would have been your sentence anyway.
90 days puts you in the prison industry where they get to collect money from the state and the federal government and get paid. You said 90 days is like 6 months. And, you know, when they give you day-to-day time and they just use it to add up.
Yeah, this is big business. This is business over here. And it's business for the lawyers, it's business for the police. If you've ever been down to the courthouse, and it's not the courthouse, there's about 8 courthouses in Baltimore, and boy, they just chug along. They got security personnel, and they got lawyers and bailiffs and people that type on computers. It's all sitting on top of this kind of crap. And if we get rid of this, then I would say probably, it's got 20% of them will be unemployed.
5,000 less.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a total of 45,000 arrests and we eliminate 6,600 arrests, then that's so many arrests that aren't going to be processed in that huge machine, which means, and they do everything with paper. Have you ever been down to the courthouse? They got file folders, big file folders filled with paper. I mean, why don't they computerize?
Paper is better because of the computer, you lose paper.
You need that paper trail. You need that paper trail.
I know, but that is so, paper, the minute you start filling with paper, boy, that is labor intensive.
But it's the only way that if you're going to fight the system, that you're going to be there.
That's
With
true.
that paper, that computer, they can erase that computer and that data because they got control of it. You got that paper, you get a notary public, and you get a notarized.
That's true, that's not you, but they're dealing with paper. They should just have, but it's unbelievable, but this could eliminate their on this big messy system.
And then, like you said, once they have the arrest, getting a job after that, it's like after prison. And even with that on your arrest record.
Oh yeah, well then, yeah, this thing, I mean, it's like, people, when you look at the Maryland Judiciary Case Search, if you were arrested in 1987 with a possession arrest, it's still hanging out there unless you make the effort to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It follows you forever.
And that's what we have now, is doing the shielding law of 27.
Yeah, well, it's insane. I mean, any other questions?
What do we do? What do we do to try to come back to this?
What's up, Rob?
Well, the easiest thing we do is we legalize marijuana. That's the thing, is take the stick out of their hands. And let's do it, let's eliminate this. And There's a lot of people in Colorado, if I may make a comment, Colorado, pot was legalized for a very different reason than it'll be legalized here in marijuana. Colorado has got a bunch of aging, older, rich hippies that really enjoy pot.
That's why the pot is $500 an ounce.
Nah, that's cheap.
You got different degrees in them houses, but it ain't like you gonna spend $40 like you was on the corner. You know what I'm saying?
And-
You gonna spend some money.
Colorado, they went early on, they got their act together and did medical pot back in 96, 97. And they put together a process. And Colorado is Colorado is putting the rest of the country to shame. So they put together this whole medicinal pot program. It worked very well. Everybody's growing their pot in their basement, and then there's these little dispensaries with these hippies growing the pot. And Maryland did nothing because we had O'Malley. Well, here we are, 2014, and I don't think we have a whole big population of aging, rich hippies. But what we do have are a lot of black people that are getting arrested, and a lot of taxpayers that don't want to pay for it. So this is going to be a very, very different fight. But I think there's a lot of people that are really angry about it. The last polls are saying that 53% of Marylanders want recreational pot legalized. So that's more, and you have to remember that gay marriage topped out at 52%. So they're already past the gay marriage levels. So now it's a fight between O'Malley and SRB on one side, Stephanie Rowling Place on one side, and everybody else on the other side. And so we'll just see.
Heather.
Heather Reiser.
Yeah, Heather's our friend. So I'm not, again, I don't smoke pot. I'm not a pot advocate. I'm just one person who lives in Locust Point, and I live there. That's all I know.
That's some beautiful data, because I mean, it will change a lot.
If I can put
Then we
this,
get it out there.
if I can put the slideshow on the internet somewhere if you want. And anybody can do what I did. I am not anybody's special.
Yes, you are.
There you are, yeah.
Why we wouldn't be here listening?
Any other questions? We're done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's the light switch on? Maria? Thank you for the projector.
Right here. There you have it, folks. Racing in Baltimore City Police Department.
Yeah, it's real deal. Now, I found anybody else out there like, quote unquote, the ACLU is supposed to be doing this? Have you found any other groups that are better than the ACLU?
ACLU's got something.
That's weird.
They're on.
Leo, that's Leo.
I have never met them. They're on it. I think they've done a very good job with the presentations. They have a paper. If you give me your email address, I can I'll send you the links to the ACLU paper for Maryland and both the national and the local.
As a matter of fact, we were just talking about the marijuana issue, the thing was, black and white.
Yeah, I'll give you the links to the two papers. And, if you want to contact them.
Yes, I want to contact you again, because I like to be on the radio show. Also, what happens once it's done.
Just like to remind everybody, we're here at Red Evans Cafe for the Public Safety Collective. talking about police brutality in the city of Baltimore. For those of you who are just joining us, we meet here every Saturday at 2:30 p.m. at 30 West North Avenue and Maryland Street, or Maryland Avenue, here in Baltimore, Maryland. Right up this cafe and bookstore. Lovely place, come check it out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be with Shorty in Towson, Maryland, covering his
I can
trial.
send you what we're talking about.
So that'll be early in the morning, and we will have periodic court updates. So do come back.
Even stats, we're like, well, that's not so, because I know Montgomery County, but if you put it like you said, the whole state, DC was in the middle of, right on Maryland makes it too strict to come to DC with it, then you're gonna arrest them for coming out of DC with it. You know, that's crossing state lines.
Montgomery County doesn't have to put its data up, the arrest data, they just charge numbers.
Exactly.
Charge numbers are the same.
Exactly.
You go back to your arrest from Maryland, those charges that I talked about should be the same.
Yeah, I have my boy Brazen coming back.
What do y'all want to start on? Or should we take it from here? We got a couple of different things we could take it with. I know, Opie, you want to talk about your proposal, and we can talk about the clips, and March 15th, March 6th.
Maybe since we got two live streamers here, they would, I want to talk about like simple live streaming techniques that I think people can do.
Who's the other live stream? I forgot about that. Yeah, let's talk about that. Y'all want to take the floor?
You want to come to the front, please? So we can all see you and you introduce yourself to who you are, so they know you, please.
I was arrested for marijuana.
I am not a thug. I'm a third. I do advocate for it.
Just say, advocate for him.
Yeah, so live streaming?
Yes.
Okay.
What would you have in mind?
Well,
Like someone who knows nothing, just how, basically if you're in confrontation with an individual, an officer, or something you just like need another witness, how do you do that?
Let me introduce myself. Ron Rousseau's on Twitter. I work with Global Revolution Live. Global Revolution was the original live stream team out of Wall Street, New York City. I also work with DC Media Group, Revolution News, several other Occupy affiliate news and media aggregates. As far as live streaming, it's very simple, extremely simple. I'll use an example of the JMVG protests last year in Boston. On Twitter with this guy, within half an hour, told him to go get an energy pack, upload Ustream. You have to go through an email account to get it confirmed. Push record or push play. Anybody can do it, and it's just super simple. Techniques in live streaming, and getting back to that example, that guy was up in half an hour, and he got hundreds of views within an hour. So anybody can do it, almost anywhere. Hotspots are also something recommended. I would also suggest that anybody who takes up live streaming and they want to document what's going on, I would suggest to have a backup video recording camera, because quite often, like Washington DC, reception is horrible around any government building, and if you're filming something important, you want to have that backup. I know you guys are very involved with cop watch stuff, so at these protests, there are more and more lawsuits with police brutality, with protests that are going on. I know Global Revolution, Vlad is very interested in Baltimore. He's moving back here to the States from Barcelona, and he wants to try and set something up here in Baltimore. So it's, the other thing with live streaming, it's very, very important to work with other people. So having teams of 2 and 3 people. So if you're going to start live streaming, don't be an asshole.
Shorty.
It gets me where I need to go.
Me, fine,
I've seen the movie.
You know, it's a very good example of that is Patty Beers.
I know Patty.
You know Patty from Los Angeles. She was at a protest just a couple of weeks ago, and the cops decided to come in and just start grabbing up people. Doing it sort of like snatch and grab, and wound up in Orange County Jail.
was it the
It was-
Kelly Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
And it was very well documented that she wasn't doing anything other than being a citizen's reporter, standing there discussing what was going on with somebody. She walked around one of the police vans and they snatched her up and threw her into a van. She's going to court for it. So the other streamer who was streaming her, talking about the stuff, what was going on, that will help her in court. So it's very important. And the other thing is you know, there are agitators who will come up and knock your equipment down. So you want documentation. That's where it also comes in hand of working in teams.
Right.
What programs would you recommend primarily for like cop watch? I don't know if there's, like from certain cases, like they can take the phone. Is there anything that automatically archives?
Ustream.
Ustream does?
You should get it. It goes straight up. And that goes back to don't be an asshole. There are aggregates out there who will copy your stuff because sometimes Ustream will not archive your stuff. But if you develop a relationship with activists, World News, I think it is, Global Revolution, and you let us know that you're out there streaming and you want us to archive what you're doing, we will do that for you because Ustream is not 100%
Reliable, yeah.
and it helps to not be an asshole. So, and what I mean by not being
You
an
don't charge
asshole,
for this service?
huh?
You don't charge anything for this service?
No. I get paid nothing. I'm doing it for
The satisfaction of getting something accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I work with a lot of different groups, and I don't agree with all the groups 100%, but the thing is we watch out for each other. And even the groups that I work with don't like the other groups, some of the other groups that I work with, but I try not to be an asshole, so I have my ass covered when I'm out there in the field. So and I'm probably one of the few activist media people over the past 2.5 years that hasn't been arrested. But the other technique is when you're out there live streaming, be careful. Watch what's going on around you. You need to pay attention to your whole periphery, especially in New York City. If you wind up out there or a big protest here in Baltimore, try to stay up against the building as you're streaming, because up against the buildings, because what the cops like to do is pluck the media people that are out near the street. So you step off the sidewalk, they can arrest you, or they sometimes do. You know, especially if they have something planned, they don't want the evidence of the live stream or the video recorder. So pay attention. One of the things that I do is I try to eavesdrop on commanding officers to see what you know, what they're gonna do. Don't be an asshole while you're out there applies to police. Some live streamers feel the need to scream, fuck the police. I'm not one of them. I don't feel the necessity to attract attention to myself when I'm trying to get information or, you know, it's just not wise. I don't wish to be a target in any particular city. And, you know, I travel between Raleigh, North Carolina and New York City live streaming, and I just don't want that reputation with the cops. You know, and I'm just more effective when I'm being the agitator and trying to report on what's going on. Right, any questions?
And both has an advantage though when you have a team.
Yeah.
You could have an agitated one and someone else covering that in that particular.
Yeah, and I suggest networking with people on Facebook and Twitter from the different news groups. You know, it always helps. It's the people, the live streamers who get the most exposure are the people who, you know, who let people know what's going on. When you're going to live stream, make up a meme. They're very simple to make, and it's like an ad. You go on pickmonkey.com and just make a simple meme of what you're doing, and 3 or 4 days before you go out and do something, start putting out your meme on Twitter and Facebook. And
Explain what that means.
a meme is picture. So it's, if you have Kelly Thomas, hashtag, whatever the hashtag is, put that on your picture. What's an example of, you know,
March
May Day.
15th, International Day of Action Against Police Brutality.
Right.
Fucking, sorry. Huh? I was trying to watch my language.
That's the first time she's heard that word.
Okay.
I don't know.
I feel a little respect.
Cable TV, I did. But it's, you know, global revolution is always looking for people to learn how to fix the screen. So the more you,
What kind of phones do you use to stream with?
what kind of what?
What kind of phones can you use?
You use just about anything, but the Galaxy phones are pretty good. That's what we've been using. There was a new-ish camera.
I got one of those.
Can you show
This
me?
one has one of the clearest pictures. You guys want to pass it? And that works off a hotspot.
Is that a hotspot?
How do you set up?
You can get a hotspot in it, but if you get an external hotspot, you can work with that.
You get a SIM card for it.
It's an internet.
Yeah,
Oh, I got it through Global Revolution.
Untold Carlisle and DC
I don't
has
like-
this one, and the
I go with Metro.
What was that?
Metro PCS.
Metro PCS.
Because they have limited data.
Okay.
So it's cheap.
How do you connect to live stream on your phone?
you upload the app,
Okay.
go to Play Store, and go to Ustream,
Okay.
and just upload it. Takes about,
Which one?
that one you can get on Amazon for $2.99. $299.
I just have to be careful with the lens mechanism because I jammed mine. And
Yeah.
I finally found a photography place here in Baltimore that repairs them. So, because I've been waiting for Vlad to give me the address of this place in New York, and he hasn't gotten back to me on that.
Give me your contact information.
Okay, sure. Sure. I've actually written live streaming software, and as soon as I get moved into my new place here in Baltimore, I'm going to release betas, and we'll also be providing cloud storage too for people's videos, so that way you don't have to deal with YouTube and Ustream, and you don't have to worry about losing your videos, and you have more control over your content. So we'll talk after.
So both cameras, huh?
That's a real nice camera.
The application.
Just there's a few things about it, but it's a pretty good model. And if you can actually get a 3G SIM card for it on that particular model. So you can. I know Metro will set you right up with that. Speaking of the live stream, folks, we're going to be talking about some sensitive subjects here in a few minutes. So I'll let you go. And, y'all have a nice afternoon.
March 15th?
Love ya.